They told me to speak very close to the mic. I'm worried about that. My other anecdote is, it was way too easy to get dressed today. All of my clothes are dirty. Something I noticed. I was like, wait, none of this has been washed. What does that mean? Okay. So every year we gather together on Tish'a BeAb and we learn a little bit together. I usually start on the same theme, and I'm going to start on it again because every year I feel the same thing, which is somehow in this room I don't feel it as much. It's dark, there's no windows. But there is something about mourning on Tish'a BeAb that feels very discordant. Right? We're in the middle of the summer, it's really nice out, and we resist Tish'a BeAb intensely. I think we do. I think most of us are very resistant to Tish'a BeAb. We don't want it to come around. We think about it all summer like with a little bit of dread. And I don't think it's just that we have to fast one day. It's that it's not just fasting, it's also mourning. And we want to enjoy ourselves, right? So I was thinking a lot about that rejection, that it's such a hard thing to pull ourselves into Tish'a BeAb. And it doesn't matter if life is happy or sad. It sort of works both ways. If things are going very badly, you don't want Tish'a BeAb to come along to sink you into the pit, right? Because you're already in a pit. Like, why do I need another day to even go even deeper into it? And if things are going well, you're like, you know what? Things rarely go well. Why do I have to spend time feeling sad when I'm finally in a better mood, right? I think those are the two sides of this. I think in previous years, definitely the state of Israel and other things, we felt a pull all over us, and we didn't want to have to sink into the depths of a very sad day. This year, it depends. Each of us is in a different state of mind. Some of us might already have been sad, some of us might already be happy, but either way we reject the idea of going into mourning. We don't want to do it. And as I always say, and I'll say again, there is a balance to the Jewish calendar. Right? In the depths of the winter, around Hanukkah time, the rabbis will come along and Halacha will come along and Judaism will come along and they'll say, I want you to be happy now. And we'll say, but there's only like 1 hour of daylight. I'm not feeling upbeat and happy. I'll say, nope, this is the time. We're going to celebrate. Yay, yay, yay. Be happy. So you're not allowed to be happy when you want to be sad. And you're not allowed to be sad when you want to be happy. That's the rule, right? Basically, Judaism is really working very hard to create that balanced perspective, to always be keeping a little bit of humility in mind on both ends. Never let you fall into too much of an extreme. I was also thinking about the way my kids act when I tell them, like, I would say to eat broccoli, but I know so many families now who say, eat broccoli, my kids love broccoli, what's wrong with you? How are you cooking your broccoli? I don't know, I'm cooking broccoli the way I cook it. But the way a kid eats broccoli, they're like, I don't want to, I just want to eat cookies. And as a parent, you're like, so do I. But they say we have to, so let's. I'll sprinkle salt on it, maybe that'll help. That's the feeling that I feel around Tish'a BeAb. Like, I know I'm supposed to do it, I know I'm supposed to engage in it, but I really, really don't want to. The other analogy so the one big question that I was thinking about is why this resistance? Why are we resisting it so much? And we're going to go through a series of questions. Okay, I think I have 5 questions. So question number 1 is, why do we resist? Why do we resist Tish'a BeAb? The answer is we resist sadness. It's not a strange answer. We don't like it. It's very uncomfortable. We'd rather not engage with it. Even, I was thinking about this week, when we go to visit someone in a house of mourning, like we say, I have to pay a visit. I don't know anybody who says, I want to pay a visit, right? We say, I have to pay a visit. We want to be there for our friends. We want to comfort them. We want to engage with them. But there's something about the moment when you're standing outside in the light of day of your regular life, and the house of mourning is in front of you, and you know you have to enter into the house of mourning, right? And and you don't want to. You do not want to go into the house. You want to be there, you want to participate, you know that you should, but you really don't. And what does it take? And as you're walking up the steps, you're trying to orient your mind, right? You say, I have to orient my mind. They're suffering. I have to think about what they're going through right now. I have to change my whole framework for a few minutes so I can enter into the proper dialogue with them. And then we enter into the house, we're so uncomfortable. And inevitably, the mourners comfort us every time. They say, oh, thank you so much for coming. And the halacha says you wait for them to talk. They do, they talk, they bring you in. And you were waiting to say, I don't know what I'm going to say, I don't know what I'm going to do. And there you are, they're sitting. They start talking to you, they start engaging with you. They need you, and you feel it right away that they actually do need your presence and your comfort. And they don't even need you to say anything. They just need you to be in the room with them. And it gets easier as you're there. And the minute you walk back out of the house, it lingers with you for a few minutes, and then you're back to your day, right? Is that just me? This is the feeling of the house of mourning. Tish'a BeAb says, not only am I going to ask you to enter into a house of mourning, and so we pull away. We know we should, but we pull away and we say, I don't want to climb those stairs. I don't really want to look at this very sad thing. There's so much suffering in there. I don't really want to walk into a house of suffering. But once we're there, we realize we needed to be there all along. Right? That our presence is necessary for them and for us. Tish'a BeAb says, you don't just walk in as a guest to somebody else's suffering. Today, you become a mourner. I need you for one day, for about 25 hours, to mourn. And you're going to let go of the rest of your life for a little bit. And you're going to do all the habits of mourner, right? You're not going to dress in smelly clothes. You're not going to get washed. You're going to think about very sad things. You're going to read very sad texts. And you're going to come together as a community. And now we understand why we resist it, because who would want to do that? Who, in their right mind, would want to enter into mourning voluntarily? And Tish'a BeAb asks us to do that. It says, I'm going to set aside a day and I'm going to ask you to sit on the floor and enter into mourning. So we resist, right? And then the next question we would want to think about, right? I mean, on the beginning of the page, that if you have a handout, share it. If you don't have it, I'll speak very emphatically. The first quote on your handout is a quote from the Gemara. After the second temple was destroyed, ascetics multiplied in Israel. Ascetics, right? They did not eat meat or drink wine for 3 weeks. Rabbi Yoshua said to them, not to mourn at all is impossible, for it has been decreed. But to mourn too much is also impossible. So there's that balance that the rabbis try to give us. They say, today we're going to mourn, but I don't want your mourning to last for all time. We have a time that's set aside for this. This is when we engage in it. After this, we're going to go back. Tomorrow, we already know that we're going to be eating and drinking. Today we don't. Okay? And for the rabbis, it's really about creating that balance. The second question is, so now when we're entering into mourning, what are we entering into? Right? What is it that we're supposed to be tapping into? And on the top of the page, I wrote that this is a class about pain and suffering. It's very melodramatic, but it's very true. We spend a lot of time today thinking about pain and suffering. And the question number 2 that I wanted to ask is, what is pain and suffering? What is it? So the first thing I want to say is that, I feel like I give lip service to it a lot, and I'm never sure when I'm speaking how people in the audience are hearing and receiving the words I'm saying, right? So I wonder a lot that when I say today we experience pain and suffering, what does it take for a human being to tap into that part of their lives? Because no matter what age you are, or who you are, or what you've experienced, there is pain and suffering. This year I worked, as you know, as a principal and an assistant principal in a high school. I will say that every single day I bore witness to pain and suffering, every single day. And it wasn't just the students, there was pain and suffering everywhere. And because I said, in a building with 800 people, you inevitably are going to bump into it, right? So where did I go? I'll tell you one of the most minor ones. A kid came into my office, he said, nobody's talking to me. I said, what do you mean? I said, what do you mean nobody's talking to you? He said, nobody's talking to me about what I'm experiencing. I said, what are you experiencing? He said, at night I can't sleep. He's 14. Okay. He said, at night I can't sleep. I said, how come you can't sleep? Everybody falls asleep, but I have to get up in the middle of the night and check the door because I'm always afraid that it's unlocked. I said, oh, talk to me about it. I said, I turned it a few times. And then I go back into bed and I think about all the things that I haven't gotten done. And he said, and nobody's listening to me. I said, okay, I'm here, I'm going to listen to you today. And we spoke for 2 hours. And I told him, I too sometimes in the middle of the night wake up. He said, for me, I have to check on my kids a few times. It's something I do. I go and I stare at them. And I know my kids are supposed to bring me great joy, but there's pain and suffering in children. Because you look at them, and they're so cute and delicious, and you want to freeze time. You want to say, no harm should come to these children. That's what you want to say. Nothing should ever happen. There's a part of your brain that says, and I know I can't control the universe. That's pain, that's suffering, right? So little. This was nothing. This was one story out of 50 million. He wasn't actually experiencing anything. Nothing was happening. He lives a very nice life. But his day-to-day life, there's pain in it. There's suffering. He's worried. He has anxiety, right? Another kid comes into my office. His parents are divorced. He says, there's no one to help me do homework at night. It's very hard. What do you mean? They're always fighting with each other. There's no one to help me. And everybody has all these expectations of me, and I have nowhere to go. So this is pain and suffering. It's very hard. We have a guidance counselor, so she works with them once a week. Is it enough? No. Can I fix this kid's life? No. Are terrible things happening to him every single day? Yes. Every day he is suffering. He's alone. He goes home, he's alone. They yell at him a lot. They take out their fighting with each other on the child. It's terrible. This is, I think I could go on for the rest of my time telling you anecdotes about minor and major pain and suffering. Okay? The teachers, there was a teacher, her daughter was going to get married. 4 days before the wedding, they break off the engagement. She had to come to work the next day. She's hysterical, crying in the office. She's in pain. She's suffering. So pain and suffering is just part and parcel of our lives. It's always there. Either there in the moment or there in the background of the moment. Right? It's a possibility. It's always an emerging possibilities. Either we've experienced it, we're about to experience it. And the question is, what is it? What is it doing to us that we say the words around these things, we say the words pain, that hurts. I feel like I am suffering. And I think the best voice for that is Eov, which a lot of you know Eov, which we read today. A lot of us turn to that book because it asks these questions. And I would say, this is Eov, I'm going to quote him. It's not on your paper, I'm just going to read him, right? Eov was a good guy. He never did anything wrong. He's a really great guy. And whatever reason might have been, it's very theologically complex, he begins to suffer. All of his children die, all of his wealth is taken away, everything that defines him is removed. And after that, after everything that defines him is removed, then they layer on top of that physical pain and suffering. He's covered in, what do you call it, oils? No, he's sitting on the ground, his whole body hurts him. His whole, head to toe, he is in constricting physical pain. He is curled in fetal position on the floor. That's what he's up to. And his friends come to comfort him, right? This is like the moment. They say, we're going to talk you through this. And they keep talking to him, and they're telling him things, and he says, stop talking. I don't think you understand. I am in pain, and I am suffering. And he says, these are some of his words, right? He's talking to God, and he says, why do you give light to the sufferer and life to the bitter in spirit? To those who wait for death, but it does not come, who search for it more than for treasure, who rejoice to exaltation and are glad to reach their grave. To the man who has lost his way, whom God has hedged about. This is, he's saying, I don't want to be alive in this world anymore. Right? I want to be gone. I want to be dead. Vicious language. Yoav is suffering the torments of hell, and he feels it. I want you to know there are people every day who, it's not like that. That's not Yoav. But in the back, somewhere they say, I don't want to be here. This is too hard. I do not like this life. This life is misery. I don't want to be here. It's too much. He goes on, and then he goes on to say that really a lot of his suffering is also about disruption. Because he says, you know what? 2 weeks ago, we were all sitting around having a party. All my kids were near me. We were all celebrating. And now I'm in the pit of hell. And so much of suffering is about feeling abnormal. Okay, this is a point I want to emphasize. So much, the question of what is pain and suffering, it is feeling abnormal, feeling outside of the norm. You look around at everybody seems okay, and you're not okay. Right? I always tell you, I'll bring my back pain in, because it's good, you have to go to yoga, right? My back pain. I told my husband the other day, I said, look at these people running on the boardwalk. It doesn't hurt them. Right? It's crazy, my back hurts, can't run. I want to run. I want to have like that floaty look. I want to be a dancer in the sky. Right? Like there's this part of it that's this jealousy for normal, for what we call normalcy. Say, look at everybody, they look happy, why am I sad? So this kid who came to my office who said, I have to keep checking the lock, what he was really saying was, the source of his pain is not that he's checking the lock, that's a neutral thing. The source of his pain is he feels abnormal in that moment. He's like, I know that's not normal. Nobody else feels that anxiety, I'm experiencing it. The kid who says, I'm being bullied, right? Nobody's talking to me. He's saying, I look around at my friends. This was also a conversation. A girl comes to me, she's like, I have to switch my class. I said, why? She said, everybody's talking to each other, but they're not talking to me. That feeling when you look at all your friends and they're sitting at a table together and they're all eating lunch and laughing, and they're not included. That little moment in high school does not go away. There are moments when you say, why is everybody laughing? I don't feel happy right now. You feel abnormal. How could it be that a nation who had a beautiful land, and we owned it, and we had a beautiful temple, and we were in a perfect position, how could it be that to these, like we look around, and it's rubble, it's ashes, there's nothing there. Our pain is connected to our memory of the past. Why is today not like it was yesterday when things were good? Why is my today not like my yesterday? Why is my arm hurting? Why do I have a headache? I didn't have one yesterday. Why did I lose this person? Why aren't they here anymore? They were here yesterday. Why are they gone? I don't like the disruption. That's pain and suffering. Pain and suffering is disruption. Look at the next quote. This is from Rabbi. A lot of the quotes are from his a text that he wrote called Kol Dodi Tofeh, My Beloved is Knocking, right? Rabbi Soloveitchik is a good person to turn to in these times because, of course, he lost his entire family to the Holocaust, and he experienced unimaginable suffering, and he was also a great Jewish leader. But he had such a dilemma, you feel it in everything that he wrote, but he had such a dilemma, which is, how do I still engage in my Judaism in the face of terrible suffering? It's a question he asks all the time. How can I be a good Jew in the face of terrible suffering? And this is what he says about suffering. He said, the sufferer wanders lost in the vacuousness of the world, with God's fear spread over him and his anger tensed against it. He is entirely shaken and agitated. His agonies are devoid of any clear meaning, and they appear as satanic forces, as outgrowths of the primal chaos that pollutes the creation, whose destiny it was to be a reflection of the Creator, right? We feel it's like something evil has touched us, right? This very, very dark thing. At this stage of perplexity and speechlessness, of numbness of the heart and confusion of the mind, man does not ask at all about the reason for evil and its essence. He simply suffers in silence and is choked by his anguish, which silences his complaint and suppresses his questioning and inquiry. He's saying stage one is you're not asking big theological questions when you're in pain and suffering. All you're saying is, I'm in pain, I'm in pain, I'm in pain. I'm suffering, I'm suffering. This is agony. I don't like this. I don't want to be here. This is horrible. What has happened? Elie Wiesel, in the next quote, says it a little differently, but I think even more powerfully. He says, suffering pulls us farther away from other human beings. It builds a wall made of cries and contempt to separate us. It's very interesting that he says it this way, because he's literally quoting Eov, and I don't know if he was trying to. Eov says, everybody is surrounding me with their cries and their contempt. I used to be one of the most powerful men in this community. Everybody used to come to me for advice. They say, there's the wise man, there's the rich man, and now they're afraid to walk up the steps to my door because they don't want to witness my suffering. I have so fallen from grace. Suffering pulls us farther away from other human beings. It builds a wall made of cries and contempt to separate us. When I asked in the beginning of class, why do we reject Tish'a BeAb? This is why we reject it. The same way we reject the house of the mourner, the same way we reject suffering. We're not just rejecting the house, we're not just rejecting the day, we reject suffering. We will build a wall, we'll say, not us, don't touch me, I don't want it. And even when I'm speaking and I'm giving you the stories, how hard is it to go into your own life and to think about that spot? Maybe for some immediate, it's on the surface, maybe for some it's deep, right? But we don't like it, and we don't want to touch it, right? Because it alienates us, and we're very alone. The number one thing that we say about suffering is that it's lonely. It's a very lonely place. Okay? It's the dark of night, it's the 3 a.m., it's horrible. So, but after this stage where we say, this is horrible, comes the next stage where we say, and it's very interesting, we start asking why. Right? Rabbi Soloveitchik says the first stage, you're not asking questions, you're not having deep thoughts. But over time, you start to say, what the hell? You don't say why, you say, what the hell? Which is the same way of saying, Echa, right? Echa is, what just happened? Echa, how can this be? And what's very interesting is the way that we phrase the question is we don't just say why, we say why do good people suffer, right? We ask that question, why do bad things happen to good people? Then we see very specifically, we say, why me? Right? It's a thing that we say, why me? Because we're speaking out of our aloneness and out of our alienation. We say, how could this be happening to me? And we look to the Torah and we flip through the pages and we look for answers. And unfortunately, if you're a Jew, there is only one answer to the question of why. Does anybody know that answer? Good, that is correct. The answer is there is no answer. Your silence was deafening. There is no answer. Judaism does not really provide an answer. Eob's friends all come to him and say, we know why this is happening. This is what's going on. You're getting punished. You did bad things. God is trying to build up your strength for the next thing. If you could survive this, you'll be better. There's a plan. There's a thing. They're talking. They keep talking. And Eob keeps saying, shut up. That's what he says. Shut up. I don't want to hear from you. Everything that you're saying is meaningless. Right? Because explanations are very empty. It does not really work. Again, this is quote number 4, right? Judaism, with its realistic approach to man and its status within existence, understood that evil does not lend itself to being obscured and glossed over. Evil is a fact that cannot be denied. There is evil in the world. There are suffering and agony and death pangs. And he who would deceive himself by romanticizing life is a fool and fabricator of illusions. It is impossible to conquer monstrous evil with philosophical, speculative thought. I'm so happy if your brain came up with a good answer that gave you comfort. Good, we all need it. But the Torah says, if you think that maybe you can figure suffering out for yourself, but if you go into a house of mourning, if you go into Tish'a BeAb, and you're going to tell me a whole story about why this horrible thing just happened to my family, I'm going to say, thank you, but no. Right? No, nobody asked you to explain it. I asked you to be with me, and I asked you to comfort me, but I didn't ask you to explain it to me. Because there is no explanation, because evil is evil, and death is death, and suffering is suffering, and they're bad things. But don't try to make a bad thing sound like it's nothing. The Torah doesn't do it, so why should you? It's a trap we fall, it's a trap I fall into very easily. People, when I see a friend crying, the first thing I want to say to them is, don't worry, it's all good, this is meant to be. I want to say things to them. I like to comfort people. And I know in their brain, they're like, why are you talking? Right? But I can't help it. You want to fix things. And the Torah says it's not something you can fix. You're not going to fix evil. You're not going to get rid of it. There's always going to be war. There's always going to be famine. There's always going to be death. There's always going to be terror. And you're going to say, how could God create a world like that? And he's going to say, I'm sorry, but I can't let you figure it out. Because for you to figure it out, you would have to be God. And you're not God, so you can't figure it out. Now what? Now you have to move on. That's very hard. No? Doesn't that annoy you? I was telling my husband, I said, maybe I'm going to do a class about, I said, maybe I'll do a class about, at Har Sinai, there was fire, right? And my rabbi says, fire could give you life, but it could also destroy you. And I have to talk to him about how the Torah says that it's dangerous to be a Jew because it could destroy you. And my husband turns to me and he says, God didn't destroy the Jews, the Romans destroyed them. I said, what? He said, the Romans came and they burned the Beit HaMikdash. He said, and Hitler came and he killed a lot of people. And to tell me that Hitler and God are synonymous is a sin. I said, oh, you're right. I'm doing the thing that Torah told me not to do, which is don't think that you're going to figure out how God is acting in this world. Right? So where do we go from here? Right? Number 5. And we know this answer, but it's good to read it again together. According to Judaism, man's mission in this world is to turn fate into destiny. I like that phrase. It's a very good phrase. What does it mean, though, right? My son is here, he's 12. Ronnie, do you know what that means, to turn fate into destiny? I hope not, because it took me like 20 minutes. I stared at it for a while. But he's very smart, he might know. If we're going to stop there, he's going to explain it, but I can tell you very quickly. Fate is something that happens to you. Destiny is something you choose. We do not, right, he goes on, an existence that is passive and influenced into an existence that is active and influential, right? How do we shift from being the passive recipients of evil and horror and pain, right, into an existence that is active, right? An existence of compulsion, perplexity, and speechlessness, right? Where we're caught unawares, we don't know how to react, into an existence full of will, vision, and initiative. The question of questions is, what does suffering obligate man to do? notice how the question is getting rephrased. The question is not, why do you suffer? The question is not, what is suffering? Right? The question is, what does suffering obligate us to do? That is a reframing that I think we all have to put into our brains. Not, how are we going to avoid suffering? Answer, you won't. How are we going to avoid pain? Nope. How are we overcome it? Oh, no, that's not going to happen either. It's going to stay with you forever. Then what do? What does suffering obligate us to do? There's an obligation there. We do not wonder about the ineffable ways of the Holy One. Right? We're not going to think about why did God do this, but instead we're going to ponder the path man must take when evil leaps up at him. We ask not about the reason for evil and its purpose, but rather about its rectification and uplifting. Right? There is a force in the world that I can't control, and this force is harmful and damaging. And the question is not, how will I create a life that's in a bubble and nothing bad will ever happen, right? How do I go into the night and look at my kids and say, I will now put a protective oven, what is it called, an iron shield, right? Because we all want to live with an iron shield. How awesome is an iron shield, by the way? You know, we want it. The Torah says you can build some, do that. That's very good, but it's going to come, right? So the question is now, what are you going to do after? Not what are you going to do to avoid it. How are you going to respond, right? We ask not about the reason for evil and its purpose. How should a man react in a time of distress? What should a person do so as not to rot in his affliction? In short, man must solve not the question of the causal or theological reason for suffering with all of its speculative complexity, but rather the question of its curative role in all of its halachic simplicity, by turning fate to destiny and elevating himself from object to subject, from thing to man. And here I want to come back to Tish'a BeAb, and the rabbis say, today we suffer. Today we mourn. Do you know what that is? That's an active choice. We're not going to wait for the day to be decided by external forces. We will choose the day when we mourn. Will evil come? Yes, but we're going to pick the day. And we're going to create the rituals around it. And we're going to control how we react to it. It's very fascinating. Turn the page. This, of course, is Viktor Frankl. I think I quote him in every class. I apologize. But why wouldn't anybody quote Viktor Frankl every time they can, right? And he's very famous for, say, Viktor Frankl, if you don't know, Holocaust survivor, psychologist, wrote Man in Search of Meaning. And his big idea that he took away from his suffering in the Holocaust was, this is the only thing he came out with. He said, I did not figure anything out. It was horrible, the whole thing. The only thing I know is this, number 6. Everything can be taken away from man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances and to choose one's own way. So I can't control the universe. I can control myself. That's all. That's all I have control over. How I'm going to react, how I'm going to manage it, how I'm going to push through it, how am I going to respond. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves, right? Can't change the situation. What am I going to do? I guess I have to be different. I guess I have to change, right? So this is where we're up to now. Can't change it. There's evil. The only thing we can do is respond, and the way we respond is by choice, right? We're going to make a lot of choices. The difficulty is, and again, when you're sitting there like, oh, don't fall asleep, stay with me, right? You're awake, you're listening. The difficulty is, you have to remember, you really have to experience Tish'a BeAb. That's the difficulty. You really have to find, and I don't know what it is for each of you, but you have to figure out what your Tish'a BeAb is. And what you have to say to the Tish'a BeAb inside of you, and by that I mean your personal pain and suffering and agony, is you have to say, you have to look at it, and you have to tear it apart a little. You have to see the textures of it, and you have to say, what would help me here? What would I, in my suffering, need, right? What response does my suffering demand? Now, you don't have to come up with the answer on your own, because it turns out that philosophers and rabbis and scholars have been dealing with this for a very long time. And they know the answer. It's not a hard one, but it is. Right? Look at the next one. This is Eli Wiesel. says, if we know what we said before, that pain and suffering is about being alone, feeling abandoned, feeling isolated, feeling separated, that it's a wall that keeps everything out, you're in the pit. He says, we're alone, but we are capable of communicating to one another both our loneliness and our desire to break through it. You say, I'm alone. Someone answers, I'm alone too. There's a shift in the scale of power. A bridge is thrown between the two abysses. So beautiful. He says, it's not like I'm going to come to you and say, don't be so sad, there's nothing sad. Right? Really, when you come to the mourner's house, and they cry, and then you cry too, they sometimes don't need anything else from you. Right? Just the knowledge that you understand that they are suffering, that you are empathetic to that suffering, that you want to connect to them at that level, that already is the beginning of comfort. Right? It's interesting. Comfort comes from empathetic suffering. Right? So that kid in my office, when he left happy, I want to tell you. Don't worry, I sent him to the guys, don't worry, we're doing other things. I didn't abandon him. But I told him, you know what? I'm really crazy also. And I told him all the ways I'm crazy. And he's like, I don't think I'm so crazy. He's like, I think you're pretty crazy. You're the crazy one. I was like, no, I'm pretty crazy. Yeah, you're right. But my father's like, we know, Esther, we know. We lived with you for a very long time. But it's nice, because you take that craziness, you say, I can beat your crazy. You think you got, let me beat your crazy, right? The kid left happy. He's like, oh, yeah, no, I guess I'm pretty normal. I'm like, yeah, I think you're okay. And the same is true for a lot of the kids that come to my office. I sometimes say that I think I work with high school kids because I've never really evolved past like high school level. So they're like, oh my God, and he didn't talk to me. I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible. Why didn't he? He's horrible, right? And I read like a lot of YA fiction. I read about like romance. I'm like, oh, heartbreak. It's horrible. And they like it. They're like, yeah. I'm like, I know. That's all, right? That's all you really have to do. You're not going to fix it. If the kid is sitting at a table and nobody wants to talk to them, I promise there is nothing in my power to do for that kid. I cannot go to those mean girls. And I tried it, because I went to the mean girls. I'm like, don't be mean girls. They're like, okay, no, we're not going to be mean. They're going to be mean. Like they do it every time. They're not even nice. She's like, but she's annoying. I'm like, and then I'm like, she is a little annoying. It's true. So I cannot protect her from it, right? It's going to happen. They're going to leave her out. Maybe she has a weird personality. She makes bad jokes. What are you going to do? People are not going to talk to you. The only thing I can tell her is, oh, guess what? Nobody spoke to me either. I'm still here, and you get out of it, and you grow up, and it happens. It's not taking away her pain, but it's a little soothing, right? Listen to the next one. This is back to Soloveitchik. I find this very powerful because it comes back to what we're experiencing right now on Tish'a BeAb in this room, right? So Rabbi Soloveitchik says, the cure to suffering really is community, which is what we've been talking about. He says, alone in the abyss, you're not savable. The hand reaching down to you, that's where it starts. But the hand that's reaching down to you cannot be a hand that's saying, what are you doing down there in the abyss? Why are you there? That's not a good place to be. That can't be there. Get out, climb, fight, climb out. No. The hand has to say, no, I was once down there. Come here. I'm going to help you out. Right? That's how it has to speak that way. So he says, for Soloveitchik, he feels like Jewish halacha pushes you to understand this and to act this way. So it says, when there is a sick person in one's house, one prays not only for that person, but for all the sick people of Israel. When one enters the house of mourners to comfort him and to wipe the tear from the bereaved sad face, he directs his words of condolences to all the mourners residing in Israel, right? The slightest disturbance in the state of an individual or a sector of people should trouble all segments of the nation throughout their dispersion, right? If people in that corner of the room are feeling cold, are you feeling cold? then the people in this corner of the room has to say, what are we going to do about the air conditioner? Because if that's not the way we're going to think about life, and we're going to say, ooh, shucks, that sucks for you that you're in the cold and everything. I'm really comfortable, right? I don't want to go into your house. Then we're never going to fix anything. But if the people on this side of the room say, ooh, I was once cold, I hate being cold, and I always forget to bring a sweater. And there's always that one person that brings extra shawls, right? You've met them, right? They're like, oh, I have 3 shawls. Why are you carrying 3 shawls in your bag? And the answer is, I was once cold. There, you've met that woman, right? She's like, oh no, I have it right here. Or the one who's like 80 years old and your kid is crying, she's like, oh, I have a toy. Why do you have a toy? And cookies in your bag. And the answer is, she really cares. She's experienced it and she cares about you. And in her brain, when she was packing her bag, she said, I'm going to be prepared for suffering and pain. And I'm going to find ways to ease it and eliminate it. That's what I'm going to do. I don't do that. I'm not one of those people, really. I never bring extra shawls. I'm like, I brought my one shawl, I'm not sharing it. But I admire those people. And I try to think to be like them one day, right? So he says, right, it is forbidden and it is impossible for the individual to isolate himself from his fellows and not participate in his suffering. If the assumption of shared historical experience is accurate, then shared suffering is its direct corollary, right? If we're all Jews, and we all went through it together, and we all lost the Beit HaMikdash, and we all experienced a little bit of suffering, then we all have to help take care of each other and get each other through it. I'm not going to fix it, I'm not going to explain it, but I'm going to help you get through it. I'm going to sit in a room together and we're going to say, you know what, we're all going to remember today, we're going to make that choice, I'm going to activate it. Today I'm going to remember what pain and suffering is, and I'm going to help it create empathy for tomorrow so that I pack an extra shawl tomorrow. Right? And the end of the Eov story is quote 9, which is very interesting, that his suffering doesn't actually end until Hashem shad et shivut Eov v'hitpalelo ba'ad re'ehu. God restored Job's fortunes when he prayed on behalf of his friends. But that's when everything shifted for him. When he was finally able to exit the isolation, pray for somebody else. He's not thinking about himself, he's going to pray for somebody else. In that minute, everything starts to reverse, right? And he gives him twice what he had before, right? So we know what, so now we've done questions 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? If you don't remember them, whatever. Why do we resist it was question 1. Question 2 was, I don't remember, I have it written down, here. What is pain and suffering? Question 3 is why me? Question 4 is what does suffering obligate us to do? We just answer that. It obligates us to take care of each other. But I have one more question, okay? Which is, actually no, it'll linger on what does it obligate us to do with our last quote. I'm going to say the last one. The last quote is again from Eli Wiesel, and this is more about our historical, cultural obligation, okay, as Jews, witnessing, thinking about not just the destruction of the temple, but everything else that we include in Tish'a BeAb, all the other pain and suffering moments that we include in Tish'a BeAb, right? He says, for the survivor, because that's what we are. We're survivors. Right? If we're sitting in this room right now, it means that we survived and that other people died so that we could survive. That is a very hard thing to hear and to understand, but it's true. For the survivor who chooses to testify, it is clear his duty is to bear witness for the dead and for the living. He has no right to deprive future generations of a past that belongs to our collective memory. Because we might say, I don't want my kids to be sad, right? Oh, it's too much. But we don't have the right to erase history and not let them know where we came from. To forget would not only be dangerous, but offensive. To forget the dead would be akin to killing them a second time. We have to remember. We have to feel sad. We have to engage in it. We have to live it, right? I'm going to read you this story, okay? It's not on your paper, so you're going to have to just experience it for a minute. So I was thinking, as Jews, we've heard this story so many times, this collective memory story, this, oh, we suffered, oh, there were bad things in our past, blah, blah, blah. There's a part of our brain that says blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, if you don't feel, you have to feel, you have to recognize it, okay? It's like, okay, I heard, I know, right? So I thought maybe it would be interesting to hear hear somebody else's story, not a Jewish story. Because I want you to make this connection. I'll see if it works. I'm going to read this to you. This is written by an American woman, a young American woman, but she's talking about her mother who escaped Saigon, okay? She says, when I ask what you remember most vividly from the day that Saigon fell, you remember people's sad eyes. You were home alone when the South Vietnamese government surrendered on April 30th, 1975. You ran outside in disbelief, joining your neighbors on the street. There were tanks, American tanks, coming down your street with the wrong flag and the wrong soldiers. You wanted to cry, but the tears wouldn't come. You were 22 years old, 2 months pregnant with your first baby girl. In the years that followed, every fiber of your body was bent toward escaping, toward surviving. At first, we were finding a way to survive under the new regime, finding a way to live with the raids, the burning of books, the agony of having your father and your brothers taken to re-education camps, the unpaid field labor, the hunger, the repeated changing and depreciation of your currency that left you with nothing, and then nothing. But your country had become unrecognizable. Fear and secrecy ruled your life. The only way to survive was to escape. It took you 2 years to plan the escape, and you had to hide it from everyone, including your parents. Everyone knew that escaping by sea meant death, and your mother wouldn't be able to take it. 2 days before getting on the boat, you went home and looked into your father's eyes. They had grown old and clouded with cataracts, and you asked him to tell your mother you were leaving. He crumpled to the floor right there and said, "Let me send someone with you." He pleaded, he begged. In the end, her mother does run away. She has horrific stories, of course, about barely surviving on the boat ride, nearly dying, coming to America penniless, building herself up. In the last paragraph, she says this. She says, "I have grown up so comfortably eating the fruits of your suffering. I'm 24 years old now, just about as old as you were when you left Vietnam, with my big sister carried in your arms. And from the moment I entered this world, I have never wanted for anything. Heaven willing, I will never know the hunger and desperation that defined your years. It's amazing how much can change in a generation. You never hesitate to tell me how proud you are of me, and yet, with all the privileges I have, the Yale degree, and I'm healthy, nothing I have can compare to what you've done. You transformed your suffering so that I never felt it. I know you don't want me to, but I cry for you when I think about your past. It makes me want to do everything for you, and I do. You have always told me that my blood is your blood, that my bones are your bones. I am you and you are me. Your past is mine, and the present is ours, and my future is yours. Everything I do in this life is for you, and I hope you feel that." Immigrant stories sound that way. This is the way of a child and a younger generation knowing all that the older generation suffered and struggled through so that they could be alive in this world. On Tish'a BeAb, we remember all of the suffering and struggling that generations of Jews have gone through so that we could sit here. And we choose this day to mourn those moments. And we do it at the peak of our happiness. We break our summer, we break from the sunlight, and we break from our joy, and that's when we choose to be sad, because it is a fitting testament to everything that has come before us, and to all that we want to give back to them as a sign of recognition. And the last question is, how do we build an empathetic next generation? And the answer is like this: by talking to them about these things, by not being afraid to talk to them. I want you to know 11 and 12-year-olds experience suffering and pain also, and helping them put their suffering and pain into the context of the rest of their nation and generation and universe, by helping them build a bridge out of their sadness, and then by telling them, you're going to transform your sadness into survival and growth. You're going to be there to sit in an office one day and tell someone, I know, it's okay. Right? And this is the job of the Jewish people. Teaming, yeah, just pull it over in information.